Hello, my friends. This is Samir Al-Khouri. I'm a former English teacher. I'm from Syria. And this lesson plan is written for young adult and adult learners at intermediate level, of course. Lesson duration is between 45 to 60 minutes. It will cover 3 topics: reading, grammar, and writing. Reading objectives is to develop skills in identifying main ideas and understanding vocabulary in context. The grammar learning objectives will be practicing relative pronouns who and that as subject and object. Writing learning objectives is using relative pronouns to write about a paragraph using relative pronouns. Write about an ideal friend. Graded assessment. Students write a paragraph for homework using relative pronouns to talk about their ideal friends. Spelling and grammar mistakes are counted. Homework must be submitted next week. Materials needed for this lesson: New Interchange 4th edition, Student Book 3, posters about friendship. Now, let us start. Reading, warm-up and objective discussions. Her work, display the friendship posters and ask students to predict what they will read about. Let students predict, talk about what do they think they will read about by watching these posters. And elicit students and encourage them to talk about friendship. Then ask them, how do you choose your friends online? What qualities do you look for in cyberfriends? After talking for a few minutes about these questions, then we present the vocabularies. Don't forget to use these 4 vocabularies when you talk about, when you ask the previous questions. Try to use them and encourage students to use them. Now, presenting the vocabularies on the board, on the left side of the board, write the new vocabulary. On the right side of the board, write the explanation of these vocabularies. Then, in pairs, ask students to sit together, read the vocabulary and their explanations, and try to figure out the meanings. If they have any question, assist them, answer their questions, and then ask them to write notes about these new vocabularies and to answer the previous questions using these vocabularies. When students finish learning these new vocabularies, we go to the 3rd step, which is intensive reading. Reading silently. Students will read the text silently, alone. After reading the text, students must answer the questions about the main idea and about the vocabulary. While students are reading the text, the teacher can go around, assist them, answer their questions, and support them. After answering the questions of the reading text, the vocabulary, and the main idea, students sit together in pairs and check their answers. Teacher goes around and check their answers too and write the answers on the board. Now we go to the second topic, which is grammar. Teacher writes the following sentences on the board. Roy likes girls and they aren't too serious. The second sentence, Roy likes girls. What kind of girls? Girls who aren't too serious. Brainstorming. Teachers ask students to figure out the 2 jobs of the relative pronouns, who and what. Teacher elicits answers and explains that relative pronouns, who and that, do 2 jobs. at the same time. They enable us to join two ideas, and you write the example, add information, and you write the example. Roy likes girls. What kind of girls? Girls who aren't too serious. Now, relative pronouns as subjects and objects point to I like people who or that aren't too serious. Tell students to underline the relative pronouns or the relative clause, sorry. Answer who, that aren't too serious. Ask what's the subject in the relative clause, who or what aren't too serious. Answer who, that, people. Explain that the relative pronoun is the subject here. Repeat for the second sentence. Point 2, I would like someone who, that, can talk to easily. Tell students to underline the relative clause. Answer who, that, I can talk to easily. Ask what's the subject in the relative clause, who can talk to someone easily. Answer I. Explain that the relative pronouns is the subject here. Repeat for the other sentence. Explain that a relative pronoun who or that is necessarily when the relative pronoun is a subject. When the relative pronoun is an object, we can omit it. Her work, model and instruct teacher points to the examples and asks students to sit in pairs and write examples about their best friends using relative pronouns. Teacher goes over the examples, selects and writes some of them on the board. Now we move to the last step, which is writing. Learning objectives is to write a paragraph using relative pronouns, write about an ideal friend. Warm-up and objective discussions, small talk strategy, discuss with the students about friends, personalities, and characters. You may use the examples that you selected before. Pre-writing, brainstorming, write these questions on the board. What qualities should the ideal friend have? What is the most important quality of all? How is your ideal friend similar to or different from you? Elicit and ask students to write examples. Go over the example sentences and answer the questions. Guided activity. Use journalistic questions: what, when, where, and how. Talk about an ideal friend in pairs using the above questions. Write the first draft of their paragraph. Tell students to write one paragraph focusing on 3 ideas or 3 areas: content, organization, and grammar. Instruct and model. Write a paragraph, your ideal best friend. Model, my best friend is someone who is friendly and easygoing. She is a reliable friend and someone who I can call anytime. We have been friends for about 5 years, but we didn't become friends right away. We, etc., etc., etc. Write about their ideal best friend, or student should write about their best friend. Post-writing activity, her work, student exchange paragraphs. How are your best friends similar? How are they different? Call on different students to read the instructions. Work in pairs to complete the task. Independent and ungraded activity. Students write a paragraph for homework. Focus on content, organization, and grammar. Make final revision. Students turn their work for grading and checking.